We've got National League Week 3, ODP Girls National Championships, and we're into the stretch run here in women's college water polo. All that and more coming up on a brand new Counterattack. Hey everyone, Greg Mescall here. Thanks for joining us on the Counterattack right here on Overnght and on USA Water Polo. Happy March Madness to all who celebrate. May your brackets find success. Now we turn to the water polo. Busy weekend ahead. National League back on tap. ODP Girls National Championships upcoming in the Tri-Valley. We'll talk with Ethan Damato about all things ODP Girls National Championship coming up in our big conversation, plus a couple of close calls in the college game on the women's side. But we start first with the National League. Week 3 back in SoCal. Crespi, Pepperdine, LMU playing host. So kind of an LA feel here to the National League this time around. Live coverage right here on Overnght of all the matches. Live stats courtesy of 6-8 Sports. Let's get you hyped for Week 3 of the NL.
National League's a great opportunity for everybody to sharpen skills and everything. I mean, we have got great college guys, great college teams, experienced players coming by and really rising the level.
It's fun playing against very competitive, high caliber players. I've very appreciated the USAWP Water Polo for adding us into this, and the rest and the players and my team.
It's a great experience. I mean, it's super important for the country, super important for USA Water Polo, and it's really good to get guys out, get experience, and especially get people to play against a higher level, guys who understand the game at a higher level and playing a lot smarter, a lot stronger, a lot more physical, and understanding how that game translates.
Like, we're on the same deck as all the college players, so it's good to see like how they just act. It's super cool. Super stoked to be playing in this league right now with all the best teams, and it just gives Louisville United kind of exposure. Like, our team, we've all been together for the past 7 years.
I think the last time I played in the National League was 2016. Like, the level definitely has gotten way higher since then. It's a really good experience for everybody involved.
So a lot of excitement for the National League. Again, watch all the games right here on Overnght. Don't forget Week 4 coming up. It'll be a SoCal-NorCal split weekend. UC Davis will host in Northern California. And then May 1 through 3, National League Championship right back in Southern California. Again, all the coverage here on Overnght live stats on 6-8 Sports. Head to usawaterpolo.org for the full event schedule and to keep track of things as we go. Also, we'll have full social media coverage at USAWP throughout the entire weekend. And now we switch gears over to the ODP Girls National Championship, returning to the East Bay, Tri-Valley, California. Pleasanton, the scene there, some great venues. Live coverage of all the games this weekend from the ODP Girls National Championship with our friends at Game On Live Studio. Make sure you head to Goals, get signed up for this weekend, find out how you can watch. Also, some live stat coverage from 6-8. They'll have more details there. So looking forward to a great weekend. We'll talk with Ethan Damato a little bit later on, but this event has only grown. Some 800 athletes are going to take part, more teams than ever before. It's a tremendous opportunity, a big showcase for the next generation of women's water polo players, not just for Team USA, but also looking at those that want to compete at the college level, get better for their high school team. We'll talk about all that and more with Ethan as we go. And here's some hype to get you fired up for ODP Girls National Championship.
So much fun. I got to be here with my best friend, and we got to be here with a bunch of new people that we haven't met before, but I like playing with new people because it's a whole different experience from playing with the people you know.
So excited to be at ODP because I just get to play all of this high-level competition and all of this playing with my teammates that I go against in clubs, and I just know they're amazing players and amazing people, and I'm just really excited to learn more and get better.
I've only really competed for Junior Olympics and on my home island, so this is a really good experience and I'm really excited to play this weekend.
As a team, we know each other, and once we build that confidence with each other, it's like puzzle pieces and it fits all together, and once we play as a team, we're unstoppable, and it's very fun to play with all my team.
I think the most important thing that I think we've learned together is to cheer everyone on, be more energized, because the energy you have emotionally, it transforms physically and in the pool and stuff like that. So, just high energy and make new friends.
important to never give up because in our heart we have a passion where there's an inner thought that says, no, you can't do it. But when you never give up, you just keep trying and hustle.
I'm always there for my team and always like hyping them up, and I'm just always feel like I'm there for them. I feel like we brought a really good energy and communication, and I'm happy that I get to play with these girls.
I feel like it really makes me feel like the water polo is like a community as a whole, and we're not separated by clubs or age groups. It doesn't matter if you're on like a team no one knows, or like you're on a team that everyone knows, like everyone's just coming together and like being there for each other, and I'm really grateful for it.
Team on three! 1, 2, 3, team!
Now we turn to women's college water polo. Some great games over the weekend. We've got some highlights to show you, then get into our college scoreboard. First, let's talk about the Hawaii women's water polo team. Well-traveled. We know their story coming across from Honolulu for so many of their games. This past weekend in the Bay Area, they go to Davis for a Big West showdown. That comes down to the very end. Emma Vernou, the Olympian from France, gets the game winner. 2 days later, they got to go up against the Cal Bears. That was a back-and-forth affair, and it was a Team USA star, Julia Bonagwiti, showing out. Highlights from these matches upcoming here. Plus, we take it back to the East Coast. How about Villanova and Wagner? Wagner so often dominating that conference, but Villanova getting a big win over the Seahawks. Take a look at some of the big results.
By Hawaii. That was critical, super critical.
Uh-oh. What a pass by Hawaii, and the goal scored by number 9, Emma Vernou.
West, as here's an outlet now. Cal threatening on the other end. Beautiful dish moving in and hitting. The Bears respond, and we're even at 1.
Sprinting, I'm like, that can't be right, but Rosalie Hassett comes out of a cannon here.
Power play now for Hawaii. Weston out high. Around the perimeter they go, and a little cross-cage snipe from Vernou.
She had a game winner against Davis earlier on Friday, which was big for them. She's a stable. It's so fluid. There's no hitch. There's no fake. She doesn't wait. Boom. Just immediately catch, and she's shooting that ball as soon, before she even catches it, she knows where she's going. From Radoslavovich out of France. I think she's out of Mulhouse, France, if memory serves. And she just goes cross cage. This is a right shot, and it just stays low.
And score it for Bonagwiti. It's an 8-6 lead for Cal. That was all manufactured. How about the leg strength to just power through those defenders?
On the left wing, 4 goals today for Riley. Hull, pass to Withers. Withers, couple pump fakes. Skips, backhand goal for Villanova. Whole set.
So Nova gets the win over the Seahawks in OT with the MAC postseason coming up. Onto our college scoreboard. A lot of offense. USC, Arizona State, 21-17. Trojans take it. Indiana over Princeton, 11-10. Foreshadowing, we will come back to this finish momentarily for our goal of the week. It was an epic one for the Hoosiers. Long Beach State, UC San Diego, the Beach with the win. And then into OT, McAllister over Austin, 15-14. Last week on the show, we had that great chat with coaches Weimer and Smith, Stevenson, Punahou, the big showdown in Illinois this past weekend. Take a look back at some of the highlights. It was a banner day for Punahou on their trip to the Midwest.
Up to number 11 with 5 seconds remaining. She's looking to shoot. And a shot and goal by number 11, Caroline Bickoff. That's her second goal. That'll bring us up to Patriots 2, Punahou 10 with 1 second remaining. Punahou passing the ball around and into center. Center working for an opportunity and a goal. That's number 11, Ava Aguilera. That's her third. Just under 2 minutes remaining in the third period with a score of Patriots 3, Punahou 15.
So nice win there for Punahou. Great opportunity to experience the Midwest, play a host of other high schools. I know we've been hyping the Punahou-Stevenson matchup, but they took on a variety of other schools during their trip. And I know they're looking to make more trips like that, have more high schools visit them in Hawaii. A great way to get a couple of different states competing against each other without that true national championship in women's high school water polo. Now on to our big conversation. As we told you earlier in the show, with the ODP Girls National Championship coming up this weekend, wanted to set the table. We had a great chat ahead of the boys event with Jack Coker. Running it back now, Ethan Damato, Girls Academy Director, telling us about everything you need to know looking into this weekend, not just from a spectator standpoint, but what if you're one of the athletes? What if you're one of the parents of an athlete? Some really good tips in this, and take a listen here and a watch to Ethan's conversation. All right, our latest big conversation with the ODP Girls National Championship coming up this weekend, talking with Girls Academy Director Ethan Damato. Coach, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Greg.
Busy week for you. The culmination of the program. We had Jack Coker on a couple weeks ago to talk about the boys. Give us a little preview here. What are we excited about looking ahead to this weekend in the Tri-Valley?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's the culminating event for our ODP season, and it's kind of been a long journey for a lot of these teams and athletes. We've got 58 teams, so the biggest number of teams at cadet and development that we've ever had, which is awesome. Around 800 athletes traveling to the Tri-Valley area this weekend. Around 70 zone coaches. And then about 15 of our national team staff and pipeline coaches that'll be there. Great opportunity for some professional development for our zone coaches, and obviously a lot of great water polo coming up over the weekend.
When you talk about the expansion and as big as it's ever been and more teams, more athletes, what's kind of the engine driving that growth at an event like this and within the program?
Yeah, I think that's something that we're trying to get better and bigger and evolve with each year that I've been a part of the ODP program. I've been lucky enough to be a part of the program actually since like 2010. So I've been in it from as a zone assistant coach to a zone head coach to pipeline assistant coach and to where I'm at now. So I've been lucky enough to be a part of it and be a part of the growth. And I would say that we're trying to learn and get better and grow every year. And if there's things that we can do better after the end of this year, we'll be talking about it and looking to grow the sport and grow these events as best that we can.
Yeah, and then we talked a bit about the boys. For the girls, similar journey, this kind of camp process in the fall, bubbling up depending on where they live, to that evaluation event. If you're in California, the regionals. If you're outside the state of California, and now being chosen here to take part in national championships. And then after that, right, for some moving on to an NTSC, how hard is that piece for you and the coaches to decide? There's so much talent there this weekend, 800 athletes.
Yep.
To decide who gets to go forward. It has to be one of the most brutal things you have to do.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I think we've got a great staff that'll be up there this weekend. Our three head coaches, Sabrina Carlisle, who's leading the development team, Brenda Villa, who's leading the cadet team, and Elise Moore. They'll all be up there as well as their assistants. We're going to lean on our zone coaches as well, but there's a lot of conversations that'll be had throughout the weekend with the zone head coaches, with our national team staff, conversations that'll go on past the event. But Jack talked about this a little bit, and it's not just about this weekend. I think something that has been great for us is that with the additions of these regional events, it just gives us another touch point and opportunity to watch these kids and our zone head and our national team staff to be able to evaluate them. So when we're seeing them this weekend, it's not the first time that we're seeing them. On top of that, we're, especially in my seat, we're watching year round. We're watching high school, we're watching club, we're watching these ODP events. And, as we get going through this process, we really get to know these kids really well. I think that's one of the coolest things that I've felt in this role as Academy Director, is just the ability to really know our athletes as they grow through this process. So, to answer your question, it's a very difficult one, and it's going to be something that's very challenging for us. But it's not something that just happens over this weekend. There may be some things that we don't get right this year. But in my experience, as we go through this process, the more that we see these kids and the ones who keep coming back and keep improving, eventually, they find a way onto one of these rosters and into one of these national team selection camps. So it'll be a big challenge this weekend, but again, it's something that we've been watching throughout the course of this year, and we'll put a lot of thought and effort into.
Growth, such a talking point when you think about the ODP program and how someone can level up from one year to the next.
Yeah.
Just take the journey of the kid that started back in September with their zone camp to where someone might be this weekend. What sort of improvement, skill development, growth have you seen or can an athlete go through in that chunk of time?
Yeah, a lot. And I think some of that depends on where they are in their own process as well, and what they have. We just got done with high school season here in Southern California, and we had the California regional event, and it was great to be able to watch some of the growth from our young athletes that they had over their first high school season even. And so the growth that will happen between September for let's say a 14 or a 15-year-old player who's just kind of scratching the surface of where they're at in the long term, the growth in a 6-month span or a 7-month span, and a lot of times can be a lot of growth, and we saw it firsthand, and it was really cool, as I said, to see that at both the regional event and the California event, both just from this year, this fall, to where we were at the start of March. And then a lot of cases where we saw them at the end of last summer to where they are this summer, and we get to be a part of that growth, and that's a lot of fun.
You mentioned being a part of this whole thing since back in 2010. If you look back over the 16 years, and I asked Jack an identical question, but how have the opportunities expanded for athletes across the country in this program?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when we think about the growth of where we are in water polo, and just even something like Junior Olympics growing to as big as it is right now, to ODP championships. We didn't have anything like this when I first started. I think each region kind of played in there. I think my first year as the SOPAC head coach, we were just playing the SoCal region, and then I think it was the California region that we were playing. And so to expand into ODP National Championships, to add the regional super finals that we started, I think maybe 5 or 6 years ago, to now adding the California regional event. Again, like we're trying to expand, trying to grow, and the opportunities for these kids to be seen and to get exposure to the U.S. system of play, and our coaching staff, I think has grown a ton over that time.
So for any athletes that are watching, right, there's 800 athletes that are gearing up to be there this weekend, that are going in probably thinking like, this is my chance, right, to kind of make an impact, show what I can do. What's like the basement, the floor? Like what's the thing that you better do, like something that's within your control as an athlete, right? Like everyone wants to have the great game or to do the saves or the steals or the goals or the field blocks, but what's something you'd say to any one of the 800, like you better bring this weekend, the thing that's in your control?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what's really cool is that, our national team staff will actually speak to every team this weekend at the start of the tournament. And they'll give them some tips and some things that they want them to focus on. And all of those conversations will be slightly different. We don't like kind of micromanage what those coaches will be saying, but I think some things that we'll be looking for is like you said, what's something that you can control? You can always control your effort. And your energy, and the way that you act as a teammate, right? And so I think one of the things that we're watching is aggressive play, and I think that's going to be something that I'll talk to our coaches about, is just encouraging everybody out there to be aggressive with the way that they're playing the game, right? And if we're going to be here, let's make the most out of it. Let's put our best foot forward, and let's go out there and be aggressive. What that looks like, playing aggressively, could look a little different for every position. And at every spot, I think a lot of times we incorporate that with like scoring goals. Well, yeah, we want to watch people score goals. That's a big part of what we're looking for. But also, the effort that you're putting in on the defensive end, the effort that you're putting in to communicate with your teammates, to help move the ball in the front court offense. Your body language, I think that's something that you can control, right? Whether you're up, 15-2, or whether you're down 2-15. Whether it's the third game of the day or the first game of the day, whether you got just scored a goal or you got a tough call, like what is your body language and how do you react in those situations? And I think those are always things that we can control, right? And so those are things that we're looking for, some small some small things along with a lot of the other tactical and technical elements that we'll be watching. But you'll if you were there, you could be a fly on the wall, Greg, for some of those conversations with our national team staff. That's what you'll be hearing from a lot of them, as well as have some fun, and enjoy the time while they're there. I think one of the really special parts of this program is the relationships that can be built. You're not playing outside of your high school or your club teams, and you get to be around like-minded players that love the sport and are here to be better. And when you do that, special things can happen, and a lot of relationships can be built. And we'll be encouraging them to lean into those areas as well, and make sure that they're getting everything they can out of the weekend.
This question, I wish I asked Jack, and I forgot it, but we're talking about going to this championship weekend. You've coached at so many different levels. What does a supportive parent look like at a weekend like this?
Yeah, lots of sunscreen. It's going to be a hot one there this weekend, especially if you're coming from somewhere where it's not sunny right now. We are in we're end of winter here. It's about 95 degrees here in Southern California. I think it'll be in the 90s. So I'm joking, but just keeping them, showing them some love, and supporting them, and being a great cheerleader. Right. And I think, whether that means making sure they're properly hydrated and fueled throughout the event, not putting too much pressure on them. Right. It's kind of a pressure filled event as it is. Right. Anytime there's selections to be made at the end of this, and coaches evaluating you, and college coaches' presence, there's going to be a form of pressure. And so I don't think they need any extra pressure on top of that. Really just support. They should all be super proud of themselves for having the opportunity to be there this weekend and earn a spot to be there. And as parents, you should be proud parents that your kids are there and get a chance to compete in this awesome event. And lots of love, lots of sunscreen, lots of fuel, and keep them fed and hydrated and happy when they can.
One of the just basic functionalities of this whole process, right, is to eventually pick a national team at these three different levels, and training and eventually competition. We've talked about this before. That is the experience for essentially a small percentage of who will go through this program. For many, that's not how they'll benefit from all of this. I'm curious if you put the national team piece aside, and you've coached elite high school, elite club, how have you seen a program like this take that young woman who maybe wasn't in your starting seven at high school or was not hearing from the colleges? How did that change their trajectory for that next level they were aspiring to that nothing to do with Team USA?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the things that I like to talk about if I were to travel to a camp or even to my own high school or club athletes is like, this is just an extra opportunity to get better. It's an opportunity to play with the best in your area, to play with different coaches, to learn more about water polo, right? To learn more about the U.S. system of play. If you've watched our women's national team, I think we've done a couple things right in the way that we're playing the game over the years, and that is our ODP system, right? So getting a chance to learn that U.S. system of play, getting a chance to be around, as I talked about, like-minded people, and it's an opportunity for growth. And I think that there's something to be said about people that want to improve. And if you're doing an ODP camp, right, you're there on a weekend, you're giving up your Saturday or your Sunday to be better, right? That's a step in the right direction, right? That you're showing that you want to improve and you want to get better. And then going through this process takes a lot of courage. It's a difficult process to put yourself through, but so much can be gained from that. And I think at the very least, as we said, being around people that love the sport, love the game, want to get better. So you create some great relationships. Being around some great coaches that also are in the same boat. All of our coaches that are involved with ODP, they're there to get better as well, and they're there to give back to the sport and to the kids. So you get to be around some great people in general, some great leaders. And then, I think with all of that being said, it's a growth opportunity. And that's what sport is all about. Far beyond Olympic gold medals or high school championships or, ODP championships. Sport is about growth and dealing with adversity. And this is an opportunity for you to grow in your own journey.
Last thing for you, there's going to invariably be some athletes that they go through this weekend, and they leave kind of bummed out, right? They're a bit crestfallen on it didn't go the way they wanted to in the pool, and they didn't hear their name the way they wanted to, but they still love the sport and want to be a part of this. What's that message to kind of keep going that you give to kids that maybe it doesn't happen for them this time around the way they want, but they obviously have the future chances to keep playing?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one is that I can tell you story after story of kids that have been cut along the way, or not been selected, I should say, along the way, that have gone on to be make our youth team, that didn't even make NTSC their first time around, and 4 years later made a youth team, or made NTSC in the fifth time that they tried out, right? That have been a part of the process. Kids that have not really made any of that, but have gone on to be great college players. I think the message for anything like this is just to keep coming back. If you love the sport, and you want to keep getting better, you get to control that part of your journey. And I think with ODP and these type of situations, especially as you're going through this from a young age, right? You're gonna continue to keep being a little better every time you do this, right? So it's like the first time you go to a camp, there's so many nerves and it's so difficult, and the next time it's a little bit easier, and then the next time it's a little bit easier. And so I think there's some familiarity with it as you go through the process, and I think just a reminder to just put everything you can into this and leave the weekend knowing that you put your best foot forward, and that you can't control the selections. You can't control that. That's out of your control. What you can control is how you react, how you act in the moment, how you carry yourself, and then how you react following that moment. And if you've got dreams to play on a national team or to play in college or further your career, well, then continue to chase those dreams and come back stronger and better the next time.
Good stuff. Ethan Damato, thanks for taking some time this week on a busy week, and good luck to you and the rest of the staff up in the Tri-Valley this weekend. Yeah, thanks a lot, Greg. Appreciate you having me and all the work that you do for our sport. Big thanks to Ethan for joining us here on the show. Wishing Coach Damato, the rest of the staff, best of luck this week, and all the athletes, of course. Good luck here. All 800 some athletes headed to the Tri-Valley. Good luck this weekend. Boys National Championships a couple of weekends ago. I want to remind you that selections and Nick Johnson Inspiration Award winners announced. You can head to USAWaterPolo.org to check that information out. We'll have results of the competition next week on the show. It takes a few days for those selections to come in. Coaches have to get together, figure out who's moving forward, get those lists finalized. So we'll have that as well, if not next week, the week after, but the information will get posted to USAWaterPolo.org. And now to our Malmston goal of the week. You know where we're headed here, Indiana, Princeton. She has a knack for doing this. The keeper, Jasmine Higgs, calls her own number. This one for the win. Check it out.
With another shot at the empty cage. And that one makes it. And the Hoosiers win a buzzer beater on a failed 7-on-6 attack. What a way to win the game.
Epic finish there from Higgs. Huge win for the Hoosiers. We'll see them out here on the West Coast this weekend to take on the Cal Bears coming up this Saturday. We'll have that for you right here on Overnght. But what a finish right there. Don't forget to share some of your favorite highlights. Always looking for a great Malmston goal of the week, goalie save, field block, something exciting. You can send us a DM at USAWP, tag us, or of course, reach out to ON Water Polo as well. Finally, our upcoming event schedule. Well, you know what's happening this weekend. It's a busy one. SoCal to NorCal. We've got National League Week 3, 3 different venues in the LA area live right here on Overnght. NorCal, East Bay, ODP Girls National Championship live on Game On Live Studio. And of course, more National League action coming up in April. And then end of the month, NCAA Women's Water Polo Championship. And of course, the USA Water Polo Division 3 National Championship as well. So exciting times ahead. But that's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for joining us. And don't forget, when you're on the counterattack, look weak side.